Welcome to the Round 16 FTTV podcast. Today, a little bit of a different one as it's near the end of the season, but we'll go through all the news, few injuries and stuff like that. A bit of news just flowing through with injury lists updated. And we'll go through captains. I won't go through targets today because we're at that point of the season where I think we're all wrapping up. And go through them every week, but we'll go through our best 5 and worst 5 moves of the year, whether it's a starting pick, trade in, trade out, and hopefully get some lessons out of it. I think that's probably the main objective of that, why it didn't work, why this did work and stuff like that. Because always want to improve. But before we get into that, how did you go this week, Anna?
How did I go? I've just held rank basically 1900, which for me at 3K or whatever, that was just a slight hold. If anyone wants to know, I pulled the trigger on those 3 trays and just said, stuff it.
Down to 1.
Down to 1. Get Bont in, Mills in, and just a loop for Roberts, who had to go. What did Roberts even score in the end? Like 30. I didn't check what he even ended up scoring. Sheldrick out, and then Carroll out down to that loophole. So it's like Roberts and Sheldrick to Bont and Mills. You'd expect more from them first week, but hey, it went probably as bad as it could have gone. So it is what it is. I think Mills won't be that bad, but maybe not that good. Maybe mid-90s or something. Don't really know what happened, to be honest. But and then Bont, I don't know. Dogs midfield, like weird game. I don't know. That ground was awful. I know it was a close game, so Friday night, all you really want in the end is a close game. But watching the game, just in itself, it was like just very frustrating. A frustrating watch. Just people slipping over everywhere. A lot of players have talked about it, and people in the media and whatnot. Don't know, SCG. Apparently it was stuffed 8 weeks ago when Port played Sydney there or something. And people were complaining about it then. I don't know. It's not great. But, Joel Frazier looked like Bont out there. So, I don't know. Look, as I said, the trades couldn't have gone much worse for scoring-wise. But I think, obviously, the rest of the year will be a lot better than that. My bigger problem is... having one trade. So that'll turn to crap quite quickly, I'd imagine. And what did I even do captain-wise? I VC'd Butters, and then I just said after that crap, like, because I had Eddie as well, who got tagged. Friday night was pretty bad for me. I just left the C on Nick to see if he went berserk, and he just got a 130, so, didn't gain too much there. George, not much else to say. Hon Francis subbed out. I'm sure he'll, I think he'll be okay, but I don't know if there's an update. If he's done it worse, I'm sure he'll tell me soon. I really haven't looked too much into footy news. Recently didn't watch too much. Watched your boys put our boys to the sword on Sunday. That's about it. I didn't catch anything on Saturday, so that time of year, George, as we said, it's just not many trades left. Well, I'm in a different boat, but even if you got a few, you're just waiting for an injury or whatnot, and then see how you go on the way home. So, I'll MVP and fold, I guess. Geordie Clark, I'm sure you were going to give it to him. You reckon he's All-Australian? I think he should be, and not just because of SuperCoach.
Walks into the team, I know.
I think, but I don't think he does. He should. We think he should, but I don't think
I
he
listen
walks.
to SEN.
They're all over him.
And Kane Corns is a selector, and he's like, I love Jordan Clark. Said that the other day. So you can pencil him in.
I mean, since trading him in, obviously you watch your players more, and besides, he obviously hasn't gone nuclear, but just actually watching him as a player, his game's very, very well rounded. He's not just a rebounder, he's not just a lockdown. Like, he does a bit of everything, which is just exactly what you'd want. Like, any team would love to have him in their defense. So I think, he'd be up there with the MVPs, because who else is even really selectable? I guess Rosie maybe 150 on Thursday night.
Off an AA team, maybe.
Off AA team, it's tough because there's quite a few good ones, but I think Geordie should be in there, and then Fault, Chera maybe. That was pretty bad. Carlton as a whole, and I mean I got a few 60s to pick from Primos, but Eddie, you give a reprieve with the tag. Bont's Bont. I don't know what happened, but Chera, I guess, not too great. And Carlton not too great as a whole. So yeah, that's me, mate. How'd you go?
Yeah. Also worth noting, going down to lower trades this year, you got the 23 primos plus McCarthy. So I think that safety net is it'll guard you for a decent amount of time, I think. So I wouldn't stress too much, but yeah, for me, well, you reeled off all those names. I have none of them except for Bont.
Yeah,
DK as well. I don't have. So I scored a 21.05, which was quite shocking because, I didn't really think much of my team. No Sinclair, no Whitfield, no Horn Francis. 2 of those guys gets injured. No Gawn. Gawn's got a hard fixture coming. So all of a sudden, the team can I think it can hold rank, but just depends on Rowan Marshall. How's he going to go? I think we'll be all right. How's Colby going to go? How's Josh Dacos going to go? If these pods can just do okay, then I think we'll be all right. But yeah, into rank 800 and something somehow, which I'm quite shocked at. But yeah, hopefully finish top 500. But who knows? MVP of the week, we'll give it to Rowan for 159. I think he's been the mainstay in this feature. He's either MVP or fault, but he gets the MVP of 159 against the tag team at Fremantle. And fault of the week, I'm going to give it to Rankin. He scored 99, which sounds odd, but
that is weird.
I think he had 80 in the first half, and then matchup where you win by 10 goals. I needed a bit more from Rankin for that matchup, but that is as harsh as it gets for MVP of the fault of the week. But I think he's starting to find a little bit of form, hopefully. So here we go. That's about it, I think, for team reviews. There's not much really else. I think just hanging on, see how we go. I did catch most of the game, so but yeah, at this point of the year, like viewership for me is like down like 40%, and it'll just keep going down every week. But for those that want to still listen to content and learn some lessons, I think it's still good to absorb a little bit. But we'll get into some news.
Yep.
Your man Tom Lynch, 5 games just come through.
Yeah, that was so weird, dude. Probably not weird. I guess weird's maybe the wrong word, but just I don't know. I don't really feel like speaking too much on that. Yeah, he's just a fucking, like, I don't know what gets into his head. He's always been like that, but that was like a proper blow up.
Yeah,
just like getting triple teamed and couldn't hack it, and just lashed out. It was definitely coming. Everyone knew watching the game. You're like, oh, something's coming. Yeah, it kind of sucks. Like, obviously, he's not happy with being on the worst team in the league and having to just be that leader because he's clearly not up to it. It's kind of funny. I saw a tweet, or I'm not sure where I saw it, but him and Stephen May being co-captains of a footy club 10 years ago. It's like, how is that a thing? Oh, no wonder they took so long to get going up there. But yeah, I don't know. Didn't we offer him a year? Like, I don't know. It's kind of like if he's not there, it's like far out. Like,
look, he's not going to complain.
It's very young down there. But anyway, yeah, it is what it is. He deserves that, every bit of that.
Whitfield is listed as 1 week, so has a concussion and had the week off with the bye, so looks like he's going to miss 2 weeks. It says 1 week, so I'm certainly not trading. Maybe a little bit nervous. What does he look like getting back into the team after concussion? Could it linger? I'm still holding. It says 1 week. Sheasel hurt his shoulder in the last 90 seconds. I think like a tackle sort of drove him to the ground a bit, hurt his shoulder, but expected to play. Pedler, if you have him, is a test. Charlie West, the people would have brought him in at R3 potentially, out for 5 to 6. Parrish TBC with a calf. So for us, we have Nick Martin. Hopefully that means a bit of mid-clock. And for me, for Merritt as well. 5 to sitters, 2 to 4 for those that have Erasmus. There should be some good security for him. And I think Hayden Young's 2 to 3. So if you've whatever need Erasmus to make more money, then you might get that the next few weeks. Briggs is a test. Does he play over Madden? We'll see. Sicily is a test. Weddle is to be TBC. So I think Weddle sort of had Sicily's role at the moment. So for whatever reason you have no money and you need someone, it could be Sicily when he's back. Gray, our our defender forward is 1 to 2 weeks away. Philippou is 2 to 3. Could be an F7 at 200k, but I'll stop. Hopefully, that'll be the last time I say him this year. Dewar, for those
Just
that needed his
quickly,
money.
sorry, Dewar, yeah, he's the last one. So 1 to 2 weeks. On
Yeah.
Gray, it's probably not going to matter, but maybe Bolter plays forward with Lynch out and Gray gets back in the team. Could be a thing.
Yeah, that's a
For
good
anyone
point.
that cares, who's got him on your bench and you might need him. I don't know. That's just
Well, a lot of us don't have forward cover.
yeah.
I've got Cooper Simpson and somebody else that's been dead for ages, Tom Gross
I haven't really
and Gray.
thought about what we do, but yeah, I'm guessing that's a possibility. When Gray's back, of course, because he's 1 to 2 still. So
Yep.
don't know.
That's the news. Anything else?
As I said, I'm relying on you this week. Was Horn Francis? Is there anything? Because I honestly haven't followed
Oh,
up.
yes.
Is he fine? Is he? I don't know.
Yes.
He's not on the injury list.
Well,
So
Ken Hinkley said post game weeks he was a bit sore off the short break. They had a 5-day break, and basically a management thing because they were up, played more forward. And he said expect him to play a bit more midfield. Hopefully, he said hopefully was the word. I think they have a 9 or 10-day break.
okay,
So
makes sense. Like the week before, they didn't bring him back on, and then this week up a fair bit, sub him out. It makes sense.
Been a really rough hold. I held in the other format, and I think he scored 60 for you. 50. I think he scored 30 something in that format, but yeah, a bit unlucky because it's a new injury. His hamstring's fine. He's just not a new injury when he's got back.
Yeah.
But I'm certainly holding and bit of hoping.
Yep.
We know what he can do. Now, should we start with best 5 or worst 5? I think worst 5.
Get the worst 5 out of the way.
Yeah, get them out the way.
Because I've got the same as you. I saw you put this down, and it's like we've been banging on about this all year since we did it. So
therapy session time.
Yeah.
All right. You can go first. What is your 5th worst move? So it can be a trade in, trade out, or a starting pick, or
you want us to start like 5th worst and then go to the worst?
Yes.
Okay, right. People might already know what our worst is. Then I've half given that away. But look, George, I had a lot to choose from. I didn't know how really to order them, and I probably still really haven't. And a lot of mine are like in outs, right? So
yeah,
it was hard for me to order these, and some are unlucky, of course, and 1 or 2 of them are just stupid. So we'll start with the most stupid one, and that's Shannon Neal. I think bringing him in, like, look, it was the very low break even, so it's like risk free. But then obviously he doesn't do that well in the first game. In the second game, he gets injured in the first quarter. So I'm not going to say it was completely stupid because he did get injured, but it just I don't know. You didn't need to go there, right? It just didn't really need to happen. So it's just these will all be reasons of us wasting trades, right? Why I'm sitting here with like 1 trade left, this will be a lot of these reasons. So you have any thoughts on that?
Would you go there again next year? If it was, I think, what was it, like 270, 280? If it was like 220, would you go for that sort of play again via the easy run coming up in the low break even? Is it like a 3-week play?
I think you should. Like, look, it probably is harsh to put that in the box because, like, wasn't going to win the game or come anywhere near it at the stage I was at. But it's like these type of picks are ones that I don't know. It's hard to even do well anymore, George. And I mean, like, really well, like top 200, 100 these days. So I don't know. Picks like that are ones that can get you there and make a lot of money. I was in a pretty bad cash position, so I thought it might be something that could get me there. And in both our best 5, there'll be one there that we did take a risk on and worked out. Not the same type of player, but similar price and whatnot, and it worked for us. So those like this one went horribly wrong. I don't know. It was an injury, so I don't think it was going to go too well otherwise anyway. But not my best.
Yep. So my worst.
Yeah.
So
what's
at
yours?
5, I've got Jeremy Finlayson as a starting pick. Last minute decision.
Forgot about that.
This is one where why am I bringing someone I had no interest of bringing in at the last second? Why would I do that? Worst thing was I could have paid 90K for Baz, who's currently F1.
That is
So
hilarious.
that's criminal. I guess
Yeah.
yeah. I didn't know if he was actually like. I knew he could score okay in the role, but it's one where is it going to last? They had a few defender injuries as well. Is he going to have to play a bit more lockdown because they had no key defenders? So, yeah, that was a hard watch round one. In terms of like, I knew he was going to be dropped by about halftime, just the way he was defending. I think he got 9 goals kicked on him. But anyway, I don't want to make those stupid mid-price plays at the last minute. Like, anyway,
Yeah.
your fifth worst. Yeah, sorry, your fourth worst.
Fourth, yeah. I'm still debating, honestly, but maybe this could have been the bad one, and that was Finn Callahan, because it's sort of in relation to another one. But yeah, getting him in, and then again, like I'm not going to say unlucky, but got tagged, and then he was like the hot tag target for everyone playing against the Giants early in the year. And he would have actually ended up being a decent hold if I just held firm with him, but it was like he was going back down to below the price I bought him in for. So yeah, it was tough because he's actually like turned out all right, but then obviously he's got injured later in the year, and then now he's back again. I don't know. Again, didn't need to do anything at that point of the year. Like Will was going fine. It just did not need to happen. That was just a complete waste of a trade. So yeah, that's definitely got to be up there. Could have been higher, but yeah, it was pretty bad, that one.
Yep. It's a hard one. Didn't really know what he was going to do because he had like tagged into bad scores and then he just cooked till he got injured.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think really got to double down on holding some of these guys, I think, because I just got no nerve. We'll get to a few others as well, but yeah. Number 4 for me in the worst moves, Mateus Philippou. Went blind before he got mid-time, went on the Ross said they'll inject him into the midfield, and they did, but there's also a bit of key forward there as well. And when you're 300K playing partial key forward off a 4-month layoff, odds are it's probably not going to work out. You're not going to get what you need. So you've got to really hone in on the assurance of role before going into something like that, especially with the additional durability risk that he came with. So that one stung, that trade.
Yeah, that one I thought was weird for someone like you who doesn't like anyone with that sort of clout, injury stuff. And
Yeah.
he's been battling a bit. Like, he's been very unlucky, but that's always someone you tend to stay away from. Obviously, at a cheaper price, it's a different story, but I don't know. A lot of people loved him right back into last year, and I think that's what we were all keen to start him this year, and then that didn't work, and then yeah, it'll happen for him one day. I'm sure he'll be in our sides, whether that's next year or what have you. But yeah, you'll want a good block of like a full preseason next year, something like that, to even consider it, I think.
Yeah.
My third worst now, is it?
Yeah.
Another little in out. Sam Walsh. Again, very unlucky here. Like, he looked good the first game I got him in, and he look. All I wanted him to do was like just 100 plus or something for a very cheap price. But it was bad because Caldwell was there as a slightly cheaper option as well. So it's like, I know one was coming off the buy. Caldwell still had his to come, but it's like, just go that option. Like, my buy probably would have been I would have been stuffed even more this week, but the week just gone. But yeah, Caldwell was there for like 30, 40K cheaper. And Sam, Walsh gets injured a few days after bringing him in for his first game for me, and had to trade him straight back out. So that hurt. Yeah, like these are in-outs that have traded in and had to trade out very soon after that have just, cost me trades, not players I've been able to just trade in and keep into my team. Because when we actually go through some of our best, we've actually had some decent trade-ins. It's just, you got to nail even more than that, right? You can't have like half good trade-ins. You got to have like 80%, 90%, because if you just have half good, half bad, well, you're wasting trades on them going straight back out, and that's where you get to this stage of the year and just, low on trades, or, unproven premiums, or, risky premiums. So it's, that's where the position I put myself in because of trades like that, or just moments like that. And again, like I said, unlucky Walsh. Like I know he's had his injury history, so people could say that, but just some random foot injury to flare up after getting him in is pretty stiff. But that one's cost me a bit. So I don't really know how to order all them, like Callahan, Walsh, Neil, like they're all ones that have traded in, traded out. Maybe Callahan should probably be top of like the worst of them. Maybe I probably should have had him ahead of Walsh, but that was some pretty bad ones, George.
Yeah. So Neil would Neil be your 2 as well then?
Maybe. I don't know. What would you think? What's my worst
I
of
don't
those
think Neil
three?
is as bad. We'll
You
see
think
how
it's as bad?
the
Probably
fixtures
ordered it wrong.
there might be a Chincotta coming.
Yeah, okay.
It might be like tag, buy tag. So we'll see. I'll give you my 3 and 2.
Okay.
My 3 is boosting in and out within 3 weeks. Sam De Koning. This one was very dumb because we knew Chris Scott, trusting him with the ruck line. He even said it, like, we're going to need reinforcements against Gorn, and I still brought him in. Like, what was I thinking? What was I expecting to happen? Not only that, his ruck contests were down on last year when he was rucking because Blitzarves like weirdest, like their own unique key defender ruck sort of role. So it was never going to work. I don't know what I was thinking. This was really bad because it was very predictable. Like I think there was a world where Philippou could have come good. The odds were not in my favor though, so I put my hand up there. But this had no chance of working. Like I don't know what I was thinking here. I guess the partial roll plus uncertainty of roll. Hopefully I don't make this mistake again.
Yeah.
So that was a bad one. And then if your 2's Neil, my 2 is out Horn Francis. I know it's like it's been rough the last few weeks after the hammy, but he went on a tear. I think after that, before he got injured, it was about a 115 average. And maybe don't trade out players who are pick 1 who still have the role, maybe.
Yeah.
Flying through preseason. I think he just had to. I just lost my patience after 3 weeks. So, and I turned him into Sarong, and Sarong, that was extra money, and Sarong was, nowhere near what Horn Francis was doing at that point of the year. So if the talent's there, the role's there, preseason's there, what are we doing? Why are we trading this?
Yeah.
Got to think straight. Your worst out of the year, or do you want to touch on Neil, or just go straight to your worst?
We should just combine this one.
Yeah,
together. I don't know
is
it truly our, like it probably is, just because.
Yeah, it is. For me, I see it as my worst. You go.
William Ashcroft, man,
Yeah.
like we did like such a good starting pick, and to trade him out for God knows what. Like my reason was, but who did you actually technically trade him to?
Sherry.
Okay, so it's not as bad as mine because I went to Callahan and then he was out anyway afterwards. So mine's definitely very, very bad. Yeah, he's a gun, man. Absolute gun. And he hasn't gone nuclear, but it's like he's been probably going to end up better pick than Chera by the end of the season, maybe. I don't know. And he could, I don't know. I feel like he could come home pretty strong too. I just got this feeling.
I can feel it.
Yeah.
I can feel it.
So, had like one really weird, like poor, like super poor score. Was that against the Dogs in that gather round, was it? Or
it was a 5-day break in the heat.
Okay, maybe wrong game
like
then.
Back-to-back travels where like a lot of them were down. I think like Dunkley was 70. McCluggage had his worst game for the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after the gather round, after that massive gather round game, like huge swings at Norwood, then against, was it the Pies? It looks like the week after. So anyway, did so well to start him, and then we just turfed it. I don't know why.
Yeah. His average, it's only 103, but we did trade him after some bad scores.
Yeah.
And I think, we saw last year, like, I think we were looking at, okay, he's probably not going to be a keeper because the CBA is probably not high enough here.
Yeah.
But, he did this without massive CBAs last year anyway. Like, I think it was 107 after a certain point. Obviously, had the come up with ACL with low CBAs. So, And the CBAs this year were up from that. Like I think they were in the 30s last year. This year they were maybe 50s. So it's no surprise he sort of repeated thereabouts what he did towards the end of last year. So I think it's like selling a guy at 440 for him to just hover around the low 500s, mid 500s, like lost a lot of money on that. That money you went sideways to Callahan. So even though that sort of didn't work out because you traded him out, like it cost me money to lose points and trades. So that set me back a fair bit. I could have got a rookie off a lot earlier.
Yeah.
But yeah. I sort of kind of forgotten about that trade, but at the time, like every week, for about 5 weeks, I was like, I can't watch Bruce.
Hating life. Yeah. Yeah.
We're big fans of Will. And anyway, never
Any
traded.
honorable mentions. I had starting Shorty in there. Don't know why I got sucked into that. I was really off that in preseason and still got sucked into it. That week of trades, right? I went Callahan and Short to Sarong and Bice. So missing Bice by a week as well was bad for me. Losing like 90K on that. And Sarong in for 590 or whatever, you got him in that week as well, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So that was pretty, I didn't really turn their money into anything. It just was too, paying up for Bice, I had to do it, obviously, and then Sarong for 600 almost, and not getting much out of him until recent weeks. Again, we could probably look at it in a future week. A lot of, I think there's been Seb post in Discord, a lot of players that were cooking now all got to a really nice cheap price this year. And it's if we just had the patience, and we've both had some good trade-ins, but it's the collective of them, right? You get a lot of good trade-ins for the low 500s. That cash that that you're not trading in 560 or 580 or 590, it adds up. And we could just have, instead of Mills at flex for me, another 500, another premium.
Yeah.
By the end of the year. So you got any other honorable mentions?
Oh, yeah, I started Short. I was very anti him as well. Yeah, I don't know, I was looking at all these people.
What about the Flynn R2? I'm surprised you didn't mention that.
Yeah, specifically at R2, I think you almost had to start him.
Yes, that's why it's a hard one to say starting Flynn. Yeah, but I guess not starting Charity or Gorn, neither of them for you.
Yeah, I think that was it's a very.
I mean, it's actually might have been a better play if you actually traded them both in at the right time, but
yeah, I'm still I mean, Sherry dropped early, was a bit unlucky, played through injury, and then now he's dropping again now, but he should have been out of reach for a good 4 months.
Yeah.
We know at any point in the moment he can go nuts, but yeah, I think probably Short, just off the top of my head. Dropping Pal Pepper at the last second to free up money was pretty painful, although it was to Elijah Hewitt. So I guess it's you win some, you lose some, but Pal Pepper would have been nice.
Yep.
So I think it's the last minute decisions hurt me pretty much. I'm sure there's more that I can't think of right now, but
all right,
those are the ones that come to mind. All right, best trades.
Good stuff. Best trades or starting picks.
Or yeah.
Yeah. Again, I don't know exactly. I only really got. I might start. I've just listed them. These aren't in order, but I was gonna say Cherry, sneak him in there for my best start, but I don't know. I'll probably leave that one out because there's actually been. I don't know. I was looking at my trade-ins a lot, back half of the year being good. I'm sure a lot of people are the same. But my only start, I guess, I was looking through is Max Holmes maybe, and still he got to a nice cheap price at one point for people, but he's doing 110 plus now over the course of the season. He had a couple of tags early in the year, so he did drop nice at one point for people to get, but he's 620K now, George, and even I couldn't see that coming. He had a couple of weeks ago, the month he had was just crazy, so. Yeah, obviously other people were able to get him in, but yeah, I think that's one of my better starting picks, really, because looking at my team, not many are still around at this point. Often that's the case, but yeah, if you've still got a starting pick hanging around in your team, then they've obviously been one of your good ones, and it's really only him, Cherry, and Rosie, I think, and Chera, and none of them really, none of them constitute. TDK, I guess, is there, but yeah, Holmes, I'd say, and then Cherry's obviously averaging a boatload, but Holmes is the one that's doing the best of those mid-tier premiums that I started. and obviously still have in my team. So I'll sneak him in there. What's your first one or fifth best?
He's currently D1. I think it was an underrated starting pick, 520k. Had the buy, so people wouldn't have wanted to go there. But
Yeah,
he's been he's pissing top 6 now and currently D1. Pretty crazy. I'm going to say not an amazing starting pick, but I'm really happy with Jordan Clark going him instead of a value guy like Perryman.
Yeah.
Just been consistent for most part. I think there's been maybe 1 or 2 blips, but he's just been a rock down there for me. And yeah, averaging 110 now, getting better and better. So I'll happily pick these like a Nas, Clark. I'll definitely start them next year. Hopefully Nas stays and just plays halfback still, because like media seems to want him to play in the midfield or whatever. But regardless, they're both good to watch. So I'll say Clark is a starting pick. I think the ownership's a factor too. Really low owned. I think it was like 6% or something like that. So happy with Geordie. Your 4th best move.
Yep. Yeah, he missed Geordie. I know you'd have him in there, so he could have snuck in there for me as a trade in, but it was like 540. It wasn't actually like super cheap. Like cheap, but since I've got him in, it was like round 5 or something. I'm like, George, do I really want to get this pick? And you're like, mate, trust me, you'll love him. Consistent, and that's all he's really been. And besides like a 50 and then a 150 back-to-back weeks, making us a bit nervous. Other than that, he's just been straight down the line, and then another one, big score on the weekend. But yeah, super consistent. But no, I didn't sneak him in. I had because there's a couple of value picks. Like I had to throw Marriage in there. I think I'll probably say him next. Like just getting him in. When he played that full game down back, 120 or whatever it was against Freo, we're like, this is disgusting. We just have to get this in. And it was good for 8 or 9 weeks there until he lost his role. I mean, Dewar had it early in the year, and then he got it, and then I think they went back to Dewar for 1 or 2 weeks, and then they're like, hey, this Tom McCarthy kid we just picked up, we'll throw him in this role. So it's like, yep, he's the one that's got it now and is gone back-to-back tons. So look, whilst Marriage had it, I'm not going to sit here and say he's a fantastic player, but he definitely scored well in it. And for West Coast, I think most people probably could, but we had to get that we had to get him in, didn't we, George? And yeah, it was good for a while.
Dirty role he had, or Dutty if you're Jamaican. But he's he was pretty feral to watch.
Yeah, it was bad.
And I think we definitely had reservations whether it would stick, but the break even was there, the role was there. Mass kick-ins with Gov out for a bit as well early on. So I had to time it as well. As soon as the wing role happened, I got rid of him 1 week earlier than most, I think. But even then, like he still made a boatload of K. Still would have made a good 200k. And like
an average, just about 100, was it? Or just under 100 for that?
Yeah,
8 weeks.
It was a bit like the Riley Bonner pick from last year. I think he was probably a bit better in fantasy because that was like one game where he had 17 turnovers, where scored 130 in that format.
Yeah.
But it's where like you kind of knew it was going to come to an end at some point. But it didn't, and he made so much money. Like I think he averaged Bont for like the first 2 months, and I started Bont in that other format, so it was stuff like that. But yeah, so we have the same 4th there. Who's your 3rd best move for the year?
I think I mentioned this man as well. You've got him. We both traded in Nico Martin at I forget what round, but about 500k, just a bit over.
510, I think.
Look,
for me anyway.
Yeah. I think it was for the Richmond game. I got him in. Did you get him in the one before?
Yes, I got him in. I think he gave me a 90 that game against the Dogs where they got hammered.
Yeah, okay. I got him in for the Richmond game, put the VC on him, and it was one of my better weeks of the year. Ended up being. So, look, don't know what's happened late. You'll probably be all over it more than me, but he sort of played midfield for a bit there. Then he got pushed back to a wing, half forward, and he's sort of been there. Once everyone sort of came back into the midfield, like Parrish came back and Setterfield's still playing, and Colball came back, and then they've been throwing him down at half back though, like for a second half or a last quarter or whatever. So look, he can play anywhere, and that's the thing. Brad Scott will just throw him anywhere. But the good thing is he can score anywhere, really. He play wherever he plays. So, been a good trade in for us. Maybe a bit of a down couple of weeks, but yeah, still going to be a good pick, I think, on the way home.
Yeah, bit pottish as well, like not super highly owned. And we see you don't have Warner, but Warner's been very frustrating. Rankin
We don't
hasn't
have
done
Luke Jackson,
months.
so he's like our
Yeah.
Luke Jackson.
So it's sort of making up. I think this is a pick where we can make up a little bit of points, hopefully.
Yep.
So, yeah, he was in my 5 as well. So we at 3-2, second best move of the year.
I'm leaving number 1 for my favourite pick of the year. Might not be the best, but I'll leave that there. So I might have the same here as well. Sheldrick, is he your number 2 or is he your number 1? Because we got to mention him. Have you decided?
We'll go together at 2.
Yeah, okay.
Together at 2, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. He was kind of a pick a couple of weeks before we even got him, and it was like just too hard to get him. We're like, when's Mills back? Is he still sub risk? Is just going to hold? And we sort of waited when we saw 2 weeks of it, him actually getting mid time, and then we're like, oh, we probably could jump on here. And he was up to, was it 180? We got him in for something like that. Or was it even more?
No, 230.
Yeah. So like we did wait. Like he'd already gone up a good 80K or something from his last couple of weeks before that. But it's like then we got convinced it actually might hold, and we're like, why not? Why not go for this over the buys? They got a good few matchups coming up, and he just produced for us. And look, I had to trade him this week, but yeah, for that 3 or 4 weeks, it was like that extra bit of cash and points on field during the buys was. I mean, for someone who's probably like I wasn't doing too well, but if you were up there in the rankings and jumped on Shelley, that would have like just catapulted you even further and been one of those like important picks at this certain time of the year when cash was drying up. You know, rookies were trading in, were dying, and you got 100 and something K out of him and good scores on field. Really handy. Like couldn't have really gone any better. I don't think, George. So.
Yeah, I think throughout the buys, it stopped me from fielding a couple of 30s as well from some rookie scores. So, yeah, this was obviously didn't have the best game on the weekend. I guess a lot of players had shocking games in that terrible turf. But, yeah, over that stretch of 3 or 4 weeks there, like we saw that we had data on this from 2 years ago. I have no idea what's happened in between. I think last year was all injured. And this year, I don't know what happened at the start of the year. But, yeah, the data was there, very high points per minute player, even with like 40% CBAs. And now it looked like Cox was giving him those CBAs because they were struggling a bit in the midfield. So he's been, and I think the main thing was like a need for them was winning contested ball, like a ball in there. And he was the one that could actually do that. And he did that role quite well. Obviously, has a few deficiencies in his game, like kicking.
Yeah.
But I think at his price and for what he's done historically with the similar sort of mid-time, it was a reasonable chance to do 85 plus, and he did a little bit more than that for us. So I'm quite happy with that. And yeah, not a lot of cash gen around, but yeah, it just goes to show that you've got to assess all your options. And I think next time like a Ned Long comes around with that sort of role and the assurance that he won't be subbed from the coach, when that sort of happens, I think I'll go there with the role.
Yeah, that was a miss from us. That would have been what he would have been probably number 1 if we did trade him in. Or for anyone who did, he'd be definitely up there in your best trade-ins for the year. So yeah, just keep an eye on those. Like we always do, keep an eye on them, but sometimes we're hesitant to pull the trigger. I feel like we shouldn't. If we've done enough research, it really like. Same like with both of them, Ned Long and Shelley was like, it's just, are they actually going to hold this role? And it's like they both were sub a bit early in the season. They both were out of the team, and then they get a run in it. And I mean, look what Ned Long's done. Like they can't drop him, and Shelley obviously a bit harder to midfield to get into, and there's a few more names ahead. But yeah, we just got to, once we can read that they might actually be holding this role, like maybe if you even have to wait an extra week, because then if they do, like they can actually still make a good amount of money, even if they've already risen in price. Like, Shelley, what did he end up topping out at this week if you trade him out this week? Like
390, 380, something like that.
Like that's 150 that we still got from trading him in at 230. So we shouldn't be like too scared of doing that. Like,
yeah.
And then Ned
The
Long,
role
I don't
was
know, it
there.
was a bit weird because he was like 130, then sub, and then 90, and like he was weird too. But yeah, point being, yeah, like we do always. I'm sure we always, like I'd say we're pretty astute mostly, especially early in the year. I am at least. I know you're always looking around, but we've got to be less scared, I think, to take on picks like this in future years. So, yeah, what's my number one? I mean, it's truly not the number one, but Eddie Richards, man, thank God. Like I traded him in, watching him for the last 6 to 8 weeks or whenever I got him, because I mean, 550, it wasn't like a crazy cheap deal, but maybe I should have done the numbers and seen what he's actually averaged for me. I know on the weekend was his first real poor one, but
Tag
he's
happens.
the tag target apparently these days. So yeah, since round 8, I think, or something, like 130, 106, 140, 110, 140, 120, and then a 66, unfortunately. But I don't know, just joy to watch. He's definitely not my best trade in by the pure sense of the word, and for a cheap price or anything like that. Like I've actually had quite a few good ones, but like Sinclair, decent price. Track had, obviously everyone had to sort of get him in there, and I got Nas for 540. A lot of them sort of went poorly week 1 and then turned out all right afterwards. Green, I got Tom Green in for 550. It's been good. Dacos for 530. Kind of had to do that. Butters for 5. Everyone did that. So yeah, like I just like Eddie the most, George. It's just yeah. I don't know. If he doesn't get tagged, I think he can keep going on with what he's doing. But yeah, not much more to say.
You got to give yourself some credit there, because I didn't even look at it. Like a lot of the ownership's like non-existent. So it was that was a very hard one to pick, and one that went really well. And this is sort of picks like when your high ranks can really push you up and make a difference. Like that's the sort of moves you got to go for. So that was a great trade in. For
What's
me,
yours?
number one is, I was trying to think of a troll one, but I was going to say Sarong for 560k with Sandy Brock combination, but nah. I want to say it's probably not an amazing one, but I started Andy. It was pretty much in my team for all but 1 or 2 days in preseason, and all it was 117 post when they gave information out that he was playing with like a toe issue last year. He did 117. He's currently doing 118. Pretty simple stuff. He has slowed, and he was M1 for probably the first 3 months that played a full season. And yeah, to start that, and like Sherry got injured early, we didn't really have captains. Like it was like a little bit of Baz here and there, but even McRae, I think, once early on. But he was the one I fell back on most weeks, and he got me through captains in the early rounds. So yeah, big fan of Andy. We've been big fans of Andy for ages now. So I'm more than happy with that starting pick, and hopefully comes home strong. So
yeah, I think that's that is actually deserved. Eddie Richards probably not make much sense at number one, but actually Andy as the starting pick. Forget he was averaging 130 for 6 or 7, 8 weeks almost. Like
yeah,
anyone who doesn't go there is like just I don't know. You're not dead, but you're like you're pretty far behind that pack that did for the start of the year, and it's especially if they're captaining him for I think he had 3 150s. Like yeah. He's always actually had that stat of like second half of the year when he's off whatever injury he was carrying. Like it's multiple years now. He's had that like a real good period of scoring. And then finally this year, I don't know why I didn't go there, but old trusty Sarong. I don't know. It's funny, like Andy Cook's now, Sarong's sort of doing well, and this sort of obviously I don't think Sarong will get anywhere near his average, but yeah, it's all about timing, George. And yeah, Andy, the start of the year, that was an absolute smash pick for those that did.
For what it's worth, Sarong's 116 5-round, Andy's 107.
Yeah, it would have a tough.
So you needed to get
patching
Sarong
him
mid-season and Andy at the start, and not the other way around. So
yep, absolutely.
So that's I think that was good. Definitely reflecting is good and stuff.
Yeah.
We'll move
come
on
up with other things to do on the future pods the rest of the year, but I'm sure we'll think of something.
We're aiming for 20. We're on for 44, I think. So
yeah, we always find a way.
Now. Wrap it up. Captains this week. I haven't given it a lot of thought, but might go maybe Nick into Baz, but maybe Sherry against English. Sherry hasn't been that great lately, but English just had 180 scored on him by Grundy.
Yeah, it's annoying. I've got some good options this week. Like, obviously, Cherry is like a default one against English. It's like, yeah. But I think Nick could go berserk against Carlton, of course, the way they're going. I got Tom Green against West Coast. Like, that's obviously
Yeah,
always appealing. You got any Gold Coast mid against Essendon, maybe, but I don't. But yeah, that would, that usually would be all right. But this week it's not. You got Geelong guys against Richmond, of course, Max or Baz. And then
gonna
later
have
on
to
in the round, yeah,
captain this week.
yeah, it's annoying.
Important one.
Yeah, like right now I've got VC on Tom Green and then captain on Baz or Max, whatever I decide there. But it's like, should I really pass up the VC on Cherry on Thursday? Probably not.
You got
But
lots of options. You got Holmes and
it is the
Green.
Dogs mids. That's my only thing, right? So
Get sharked. Yeah.
yeah, if he's not getting 12, 13, 14 hit outs to advantage and he's getting 5, then obviously he'll still probably score well, 90, probably ton up still. But it's like, if you want that 150, he needs those hit outs to advantage. If the Dogs mid start cooking and sharking all them, then he won't get them. Tough week. A lot of options.
I've got Sherry into Baz at the moment, but the only thing stopping me from going Nick is a potential Shinkata tag.
That's true.
How's Nick gone against Carlton in the past? Let's have a quick look. 94, 101, 150. So I'm guessing he's been tagged the last 2 times.
Yeah, I just feel like the way that Carlton are going so poorly right now. I don't know if like they've usually been going all right, somewhat in recent years. I don't know. I've got it VC on Tom Green right now, and then I'm maybe Baz or Max. I'll leave it at that for now.
Yeah.
See what
I've got Sherry into Baz at the moment. Baz makes me nervous, though. But these guys playing for Brownlows at the end of the year, I think that's the way to go.
Baz should make you nervous. Like, he'll still score good. It's just whether or not his ratio is any good. Honestly, Baz could have 160, 70 fantasy this week. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. Maybe VC Baz and go. He's playing
the
late.
backup later in the week.
Dawson against Melbourne, they could tag him. I'm not comfortable with that.
Andy against Sydney, they could tag him. Him also wrong, I wonder.
Yeah.
Pricks went to Richards this week. They better go to someone this next. Like, better not drop the tagging job again after 1 week.
Rowan went 160 last year on Meek.
You could never captain him though, George.
On VC only. VC only.
I don't know. Good options, hey? Let us know, I guess, in the comments what you're doing, because quite a few options.
All right, we'll wrap it up there. Thanks everyone for watching. Good luck this week, and see you guys in the next one.